Welcome back to this story now. Every parent should be able to play and learn with their children. Now, the Lego Foundation is awarding a 5-year, £11 million grant for parenting research. It's part of the Global Parenting Initiative. The aim is to develop playful parenting programs. To tell us more about this, we're joined now by Dr. Jamie Lachman from the Global Parenting Initiative. Dr. Jamie, thank you so much for your time this morning. Let's talk a little bit about exactly how this research aims at being able to solve some of those parenting questions that many of us are confronted with on a daily basis.
Well, thank you so much, Faith, for having me on the show today. We're really actually delighted for this opportunity from the Lego Foundation and the Oak Foundation to really shift the frontier of what we know and what we can do about supporting parents in the Global South, with a large portion of that actually focused on the work that we're doing in collaboration with the University of Cape Town and the University of Stellenbosch and Clowns Without Borders, UNICEF, and the Department of Social Development and others in South Africa. And really the aim of this initiative is to take what we know about what works and try and learn about how we can then expand that to reach parents at scale, because the need is really great. We know that in the Global South, 43% of children are at risk of not reaching their developmental potential, and 1 billion children each year experience violence in some form or another. And so the programs that we traditionally used to, or still do deliver of in person, can reach thousands, but we really need to learn about how can we reach millions of parents, and how can we do that with programs that are effective and are embedded into existing systems that can be sustained in delivery.
Well, Dr. Jamie, you mentioned quite something pertinent here about how is it that we can reach the millions of parents that are being confronted with the learning objectives and the learning milestones within their children and playing while learning, basically. But in the South African context, for example, and I think in any developing country, the reality of the matter is that a lot of the parents are overworked, underpaid, and therefore overworked. And many of them, you'd hear that the reason why I don't have time to spend with my child is because I'm busy working. By the time I come home, I have to prepare a meal, get the kids to bed, and just hope for the best next time. And another thing that further exacerbates this very same mantra is the socio-economic injustices and imbalances that exist within our communities. So how then do we see this program being able to speak to some of those disadvantages which are plaguing millions of Africans, or even those that are in developing states?
I think it's really important to realize that parenting programs don't work unless you meet the parents where they are and accept the challenges that they experience in their daily life. And so in two ways we can really think of this, really, if we break it down into a more basic level. One is really supporting parents with the stresses that they experience. So whether that is providing them with simple exercises or a community of support that they can reach on for others, it's quite essential in order to be able to be open and receptive to your children and to see them as an opportunity to engage with. You also have to really, reduce your own stress in your own life. The other one is reflecting on the busyness of everybody's life, but especially working families and people who are in a lower socioeconomic status. You know, sometimes it's not enough. There's no time to spend the time that you'd love to spend with your child, playing with them or taking them out on activities. But you can find simple ways to play with your children while doing chores. Maybe it's the laundry or working, cleaning the house, and making that into a playful one-on-one time activity. And in the programs that we have been testing, we've seen that even 5 minutes a day of playful interaction with your child can make a huge difference in the relationship between parents and children, and also on the child outcomes on the long term.
Yeah, I mean, you know, as you're speaking about how we can just integrate it within our daily lives, I mean, the 43% of children not reaching their developmental milestones also comes hand in hand with the lack of nutrition that sometimes goes with the children as well. So on one side, we've got the developmental milestones that are not being reached. On the other side is the lack of nutrition, which of course we know that if your brain is not being fed, if your stomach is not being fed, you're not feeding your brain, and therefore making developmental outcomes that much more difficult, and learning, Dr. Jamie, that much more harder.
You make a really good point, Faith. Parenting doesn't exist in its own, on its own. It exists within a lot of different other needs. And when you think about the World Health Organization's Nurturing Care Framework, nurturing caregiving is only one of 5 components, including nutrition and health and safeguarding. And when we think about how we are testing and delivering parenting programs, we have to also see them as part of a larger system where the support is necessary for poverty alleviation, for nutrition support, for health, for community safety, and for supporting parents. So it's really part of an ecosystem of support.
Yeah. So, Dr. Jamie, just in practical terms, how will this now work, this program in itself, as well as that dissemination? Will it be going to the likes of the University of Stellenbosch as well as UCT to be able to foster for the research to actually continue so that it can be disseminated amongst the communities?
Well, we have 9 research in implementation studies across the world, with 3 of them focused in South Africa, led by Stellenbosch and the University of Cape Town. Those studies are really focused on learning about what works best and how to take it to scale. At the same time, we have a component of the Global Parenting Initiative that is focusing innovating digital and remote delivery parenting programs to be able to scale up those effective services. We also have a wonderful opportunity to build capacity with building the early career research capacity in the Global South with over 50 early career researchers, but also supporting local NGOs to have the capacity to deliver parenting programs with the support of Parenting for Lifelong Health. And then lastly, working with UNICEF and the World Health Organization, the Global Partnership to End Violence, and the Early Childhood Development Action Network, we're really trying to advocate for the take-up of evidence-based approaches by governments, by private sector, by NGOs on national levels.
We'll leave it there. Dr. Jamie Lachman, Senior Lead at Global Parenting Initiative, just talking to us about how is it that she can make learning perhaps more playful.